Hey everybody, it's me, Lila, Gma Rides. Come on along while I show you something interesting I did last year. I went on vacation with the Neal family and I took you along. Hey, back again. I was talking to a friend yesterday regarding, sometimes I'm not trying to complain here or anything, but I'm just curious about something. What happens when you take a road trip or travel long distance? If you do so, some people it's not their jam, and I'm okay with that. I get it. But I'm just curious. What do you do to break up people that have traveled a ways on a bike know that sometimes it's kind of monotonous. Seriously though, people, the views are beautiful, the time spent having some reflection with your own thoughts is wonderful, but what do you do to keep your mind in the game while you're riding? I'm kind of interested to hear what other people do. Personally, I like to listen to some nice loud music, or I record and I talk to myself. But yeah, generally I make sure that my cardo and my phone are charged up so that I have that ability to do that. I can remember road tripping in the days before I had music in my ears, and it was kind of monotonous. Yeah. Think about the sound of those pipes and just that for miles and miles and miles. And the drone is kind of hypnotic. I find it relaxing, but hypnotic nonetheless. And, that can be a dangerous combination when you're trying to stay awake. But anyway, just food for thought. Leave me a comment. If you haven't done so yet, you really should subscribe. The YouTube algorithm loves that junk. And if you hit that bell, you get notified every time I put new stuff up here. Okay? Okay. And if you haven't shared this yet with your friends, feel free to do that too. Okay? Okay. I'll talk to you in a bit. And yeah, watch. This is me realizing that I forgot to push some silly button on my phone to start my trip. So, do you think that thing will work on all these bumpy streets? Nope. Sometimes when the Wi-Fi is cutting in and cutting out, you cannot get Google Maps to work. So word to the wise, you should think ahead like I frequently do not do. Yeah, but anyway, I finally got it to work without having to resort to pulling over, because otherwise I would have been just following Sean, which is fine, he's a great leader, but I like to know where I'm going to, just in case, But yeah, I was also talking to you earlier regarding the noise of the road, so in a little while here, there won't be any music. There's just going to be road noise. So I want you to think about that. What would you use to fill it? Drop me a comment, okay? riding all day long. You got up, maybe 6 o'clock in the morning. You just stopped and you chose to have a really heavy hamburger or something for lunch. And now you're just riding. And go. Don't forget to let me know what you'd be listening to in your head. Talk to you next time.